right, so now that we have kind of the cab mounts all figured out on this truck, before we start really finalizing the firewall, I think the best thing that we have to do is make the engine and transmission into the chassis. Even though we don't have the connector for the transfer case yet, we can at least do a two-wheel drive mock-up with the engine and transmission. Then we can build off that and make sure everything fits, because that's, the main thing at the end of the day. So yeah, let's get this 6.9 IDI and transmission inside this chassis. Welcome to IO Stable Garage. Now this is a big engine, don't get me wrong. Accessories are big, all that stuff, but it's about, on par to a 5.4. 5.4 was tight in here, but we should be able to gain a lot of room. 5.4 mounts are going to have to go. We got no choice on that. So what I'm going to do, we might have to cut this guy off, and then cut him flush, and then bang him out, because those bolts are likely never going to come out. But these ones I might be able to snap out. As long as we can get them out and get down to this main mount here, we can build off of it. So that's the plan. Let's start working on these guys. Now we got our blank canvas. We're likely gonna have to drill some holes, but that fella right there should line up pretty good. So the idea is we're gonna put this guy on the cherry picker, set him down. I might scoot the cab back just a little bit, just for right now. We can always clearance that, that's not a big deal. And just kind of see if we can get this guy on those mounts right there. Just help clear and stuff. See how everything sits, and then we can go from there and change our plan if need be. So let's get at it. Alright, so when it comes to the IDI itself, we got a couple issues. Couple small ones, something we can work out, no problem. First one, we have this cross member down here. This is basically an additional strength and cross member. As you can see, it goes from one side to the other. It just kind of connects this side to that side. You technically don't need it, but what we'll do, we'll cut him out and then we'll build a new one that goes around our oil pan. Other than that, we shouldn't even have to notch it. It seems like it's not getting in the way of anything else. Maybe just a little bit up front, but that's it. As for our motor mounts, we might just have to go cut the other ones off the 350 and build those up. As for height, if we can get it down that low, height-wise, our hood and everything should clear. We're not going to be running this fan, and if we need to move the alternator, we can. That's not a big deal. Same as our fuel, we can move that anywhere. That's not a big deal. We can even bring him down here if need be. Tons of options. So, first things first, what we got to do is we want to keep the original 6.9 mounts. These guys, just because it's going to make life a lot easier going forward and down the road and all that stuff. But other than that, it's not too bad. We have our oil filter right over here, right there, as you can see. And the biggest concern with him is that front pinion for the four-wheel drive. But we have a relocation kit for that, so that's not going to be a big deal. So what we're going to do, we're going to remove that secondary cross member for now. We'll make a new one down the road, but just so we can get the engine in. And we're likely going to have to cut the frame side mounts off and put the 350 frame side mounts on. Not a big deal. Those are the two first changes we're going to have to do. And then if we really need to modify the pan, we will. But that's what we got going on right now. So yeah, let's get at it. right, so I got those 2 plates bolted to my engine mounts. And these plates right here, the idea is we're going to sit it down, see what we need to cut on this, cut those guys, and then these guys right here will weld directly into those frame horns, and these will be my new frame horns. We'll make cover pieces, put those in. That will mate this engine to that chassis. But first, we got to sit this guy back in. It's likely going to have to come in and out like 5 or 6 times until we get the right spot. Keep cutting a little bit here and there. Once we get the right spot, then we can go from there. I'm going to take this back panel piece off because we don't need this anymore for the stand. We only needed the stand to get it past that truck. And now we'll be able to test it. So let's take that off, start going up and down. We'll cut it, get it tacked in, and I'll bring you guys back. So you know what? Overall, it's actually coming out very, very well. Gonna have to add a little bit of a spacer piece there. Not a big deal. As you can see, the engine's listed just a little bit, and I'm gonna show you why. The oil filter is hitting the front differential. So we're definitely gonna have to add that oil filter bypass onto this guy. We got no choice. So that's what we're gonna do for that fella. I'm gonna have to lift him up, take the oil filter clean off for now, just so we can set the engine in, and then we can start building off the back. So we'll lift her off. We're gonna drain the oil filter out, take it off, and then we'll keep going from there. So this is kind of what we got going on there, fellas. It's on the crane for right now, but that's the general height that we got going on. As you can see, we're awful tight on the oil pan. Just a small amount of clearance, not a big deal, but we fit everywhere else. It's kind of ram jammed a piece of square stock in here, kind of like a wedge. Just kind of hold it up, but you can kind of see what we got going on. It's bolted in directly. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna make a nice chunk. We're gonna just weld him directly to this. Same thing, weld him directly to that. Just kind of make some braces for now. Then we can take the engine off these 2 mounts here and here, take the whole engine out, seam weld it all in, then we should be able to put the engine back in. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Body mounts are here, engine is here. It's kind of moved around. It doesn't give us a lot of room. We're going to work with it. I think this is the best alternative that we have going forward. Anyway, but we got the good rake, everything that we want. So that's the idea. That's the plan. Going to make up a couple quick pieces of steel. Even if we cut them out, it's not a big deal. Put them in, tack weld them just so that they stay. Then separate the engine, take it out, then finish the mounts. That's the plan. Anyway. All right, so we got this guy welded in here. It's actually the only place on this side. Not exactly thrilled about it because I got to make sure that that holds as we take this whole engine and assembly out. But this side, we got it welded up here. It looks ugly, but it's just placeholder stuff. And we got it welded down there. So the plan is, because I can't really get to those 2 bolts, I don't think. No, not really. Can't really get to those nice and easy, because I got to cut the whole bottom out of these first. But the plan is, there's 2 bolts, one, oh, come on now, show you. There's one, and then there's another right there, vice versa. We're gonna take those 2 bolts out. It's not exactly how these mounts are supposed to come undone, but that's okay. It's gonna leave the mount part on that we can cut, basically do like a cut and butt, but with full-size steel. That's the plan anyway. And then we can kind of make our mounts like that, and it should be all squared up. So that's the plan. I'm gonna tighten this guy up so it kind of lifts the whole engine out a little bit, and then we're gonna start removing those. All right, so that's what we got going on. This mount is all nice and solid. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna cut up along in here, make that hollow. We'll cut that guy off. We'll cut everything we don't need, you know, down here, all that stuff. Then we're gonna plate it, fully seam welded in. That guy's gonna be done. This side, we had to scoot just a touch that way. Not a big deal. We'll scoot it just a touch. And then we're just going to cut this guy out, put him down, plate it, same idea. And then we're going to keep on carrying on. But that's going to complete our mounts. So, without further ado, we got a lot of work to do. I'm going to cut up in here, cut all that extra stuff off, plate it, get that done. So I got it all cut down to its bare necessities. Basically, we're going to add a nice plate there, nice plate there, nice plate there, nice plate there. I got the other plate all ground down and ready to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hot tack them in. Then we got a good plate here somewhere, and we're going to cut out our pieces that we need. And then we're going to fully seam weld it in, and those are going to complete our mounts. Awesome. Go. We got them kind of welded in. Finished welded on the fronts, basically. Now we got to do the sides. Ding, 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 ding. And then those guys are going to be pretty much all finished welded after they have the pieces put in. And then from there, we should be able to put the engine back inside, just do a nice little test fit. Then we're going to tilt the whole cab back and start working on our transmission. We might have to cut that cross member and put them in. We're going to gear it up for a 2-wheel drive right now just because we don't have that tail cone yet. But either way, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We still got to add those pieces. we got the motor mounts all done. They're all finished welded. They're all super strong. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put that guy in, bolt him on, and then we can kind of deal with that transmission. What we did is we put the transmission on the back of the engine. We kind of got it lined up for what we got, but next video, we got to make the transmission cross member, and we're likely going to start augering out because I got a couple plans for that guy and etc. going back, but that's another big job. Either way, it's all coming together little by little. We are slowly building this chassis for exactly what we want. And, you know, it's all coming together. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one really, really soon. Hey, see ya.